My name is Nikki Simpson. I've been tattooing for 14 years. I live in New York, and my style is illustrative realism. So I became interested in tattooing way before I even got tattooed. Back then, it was very, very alternative. It was pirate lifestyle. It was, the fringe society that was getting that. But I mean, like, as a rebellious teenager, that's everything that I was attracted to. I loved like rock music and metal and punk and just kind of, owning that you're an outsider. So that was everything that drew me to tattooing. And I knew it was going to be hard as a female to get into this because back then you didn't see many big female tattooers. Like, it just wasn't a thing. I understood that, but when you have a dream, you see the obstacles and you just say, fuck it, man, because I'm not good at anything else. At the time, I wasn't good at anything else, really. I can draw pretty pictures. And I went to school for a little bit and I was like, dude, this is like, if this is gonna be my life, it ain't for me. And I'm gonna be living a lie. So I'm gonna find a way to make this work. I was fresh out of high school, did like a semester in college, and I was like, nope, this is not it. And I met some people that just said, hey, dude, just show tattoo shops your drawings. You have so many of them, just do it. Like, fuck it. You don't have kids, you don't have a crazy full-time job, you have all the time in the world for an apprenticeship, so just take a chance because you have nothing to lose. And sometimes when you have nothing to lose, that is the best moments to just take crazy leaps in your life. I had a lot of doors slammed on me, and I kind of expected that. Like, first of all, it was harder for women, but also 18, 19-year-old woman, child. That's a child. That's crazy that even back then, people were letting me tattoo them. But I finally found a place where they accepted me and brought me in, and that was the quickest way I could learn how to grow up, because I'm working with 30, 40, 50-year-old men. Having to hold your own and try to find a way to fit in, that was a huge growing thing for me. Not only that, as a tattooer, you have to present yourself in a way that's not only professional, but how are you special? How are people going to set you apart from everyone else? And you definitely have to try harder as a woman, because especially back then, maybe there was Kat Von D, that had wider fame or anything like that, but I didn't really care about fame. I just wanted respect, and I wanted to just do what I loved and find a place that I belonged. Everybody wants to find somewhere where they belong. And when I got my first tattoo, I'm like, dude, this environment, this is where I want to stay. I just knew if I'm gonna take all these chances and just try to achieve a dream, I'm gonna do it the best I can. I worked around really, really experienced tattooers in Arizona, and then I did more conventions and met more people. I networked and saw people doing amazing shit, like mind-blowing to me. And I'm like, fuck, man, I wanna know how to do that. That's the shit right there that is so inspiring. When you see people doing shit better than you, I don't know if I just like thrive off of like jealousy or what, but what do they know that I don't know? Who do they know that I don't know that can teach them these things? So I hit the convention circuit, and I lived out of my suitcase for like almost 2 years. I moved to California. I slept on a couch because I had an opportunity to work with a really amazing artist, and I just took that opportunity. I just said, you know what? I have nothing to lose. Let's just do it. When you take those type of big risks, you can't do it as a joke. So along that way, Ink Master approached me, and for years, I kind of like saw it as like cheesy, like corny, like I'm not doing that. That's not the world I want to be in. I just want to find my place in the tattoo industry, not in people's households. I had the right people that were, being my cheerleaders. They're like, dude, don't take yourself so fucking seriously. Do something weird, do something random. You never know, you might have an amazing time. And I did it, and I did not have an amazing time because that show is really, really intense, or at least it was back then. And I didn't really know who I was at that time. So whoever I presented myself to be on TV was my very squishy frontal lobe, but I made incredible friends. And these friends were doing tattoos that I looked at and I was like, man, that's incredible. I wish I could know how to do things like that. But they also turned out to be amazing people that I have lifelong bonds with. I don't know, I guess people loved seeing our relationship on Ink Master. We got a spinoff, and it was Ink Master Angels, and I did that with Ryan Ashley and Kelly Doty. And it's fucking crazy that they let a 25, 26-year-old woman just dress up in pretty outfits and travel the world with her best girlfriends and do really cool tattoos on TV. And I look at that like, that is a blessing. And that is so bizarre and so strange and so weird. Be grateful. I've always just kind of looked at strange and wild experiences being thrown at you to be the biggest moments where you can grow. During that time, I grew up a bit, and I found love, and I got married, and I found like my people, and I found my real support system, not the people that are trying to get something off of you. It was, how am I going to find myself in this industry as a secure woman, respected tattooer, outside of just TV? What are my other dreams? I already got to do the coolest shit ever. What else is there? So I decided to open a shop, and I moved to New York City where my husband lives, and we opened a studio in Bushwick. Let me just tell everyone right now, owning a shop is fucking hard. It is not anything you think it's going to be. And it was a lot of falling on my face and humbling myself and realizing that it's one thing to have control of your own career, but when you are now kind of responsible for other people's careers because they trust you enough to work with you and become a part of your creation, that's a lot of pressure. So along that way, I shifted my focus to not be as self-serving. I kind of took a little bit of a step back from social media and the photo shoots and the videos and all this kind of stuff, because I just needed to kind of ground myself with what I was doing in my studio. I had young, hungry artists that reminded me of myself, that wanted something more. It shifted everything. And it made me realize, okay, why am I important as a tattooer? It's not about what I've done on television. It's not about who I present myself to be on social media. It's not. It's the interactions I have with other tattooers and people in my community. How can I affect them? How can I help them? How do they find a home in my home, my studio? And then I began doing more seminars because I just started feeling like I was giving back instead of serving myself for the first time. It's easy to be selfish in your 20s, but something happens in your 30s. That superficial shit doesn't matter. Do it if it makes you money, do it for fun, but that doesn't define you. Do the things that makes you feel fulfilled and it makes you feel like you made a difference. And so right now, I'm kind of in this phase where, am I just going to give and give and give? Where's my fulfillment? Where, I do get fulfillment seeing people succeed and getting inspired, but where's my inspiration? I can be inspired by seeing other people succeed, but I gotta get back to me. So it's kind of like a balance of being an artist is, who am I as an artist? Who are my friends in this world? How do I identify in a sea of tattooers where there's so many more tattooers now doing shit that I was not capable and still am not capable of? How do I find myself again? I always found myself in my peers. And now I'm, still running my studio. I'm trying to be the best mentor I can be to these really amazing young artists, but I'm connecting with my friends in the community again. I'm doing more guest spots and collabs and, inviting more guests into my studio and traveling again. Even though it's nice to have, comfy, lovely home, it's we got to get uncomfortable here and there. I feel like being uncomfortable is good. It pushes you to figure out what the next step is. And it's just been so crazy rewarding remembering, oh yeah, this is a fucking life I wanted. I wanted to do cool tattoos in places and around people and with people that inspire me. I want to meet more dream clients because now that I have an established style and now that I've shown the world who I am, that has brought me, my clients have become some of my closest friends. Every time they come in, I just want to make them feel at home. I want them to be come on in, this is my sacred space, my studio. I want you to feel special. I want you to feel important. And so I'm just trying to get back to the real shit. It's not all the glitzy shit. That stuff is fun, great fun, and it serves a purpose. But it's just about who am I as an artist? And at the end of the day, when you're an artist, you're gonna have multiple identity crises, and it's healthy too. I think it's super healthy to be wait, who am I and what am I doing here again? Do I like this? Do I feel comfortable in this? What am I going to do with the future? What does 5 years look like? What does a year from now look like? But in all of the steps that I've had in my career, it's been, dude, start saying yes to shit. Stop having a preconceived notion of what you think you're going to be, who you think you are right now, because it's going to change. And you're going to meet people that are going to change you. And you're going to do tattoos that are going to change your perception on tattooing. You're going to see tattoos that change your perception. Being involved and being really tightly knit in this community is what evolves you. It's silly thinking oh, we're just starving artists, we're figuring out who we are in the world. Yeah, that's a thing, but it also grounds you. It makes you hang out with the people that actually make you feel loved and special and appreciated, and you can give your clients things that make them feel seen and special and appreciated. And yeah, I mean, tattooing is my entire life. It's not who I am, but it's the single best decision I could have made to figure out who the fuck I am. I've probably had it worse than any other motherfucker on that TV show. Being on TV, you are opening yourself to scrutiny, especially on a game show. What are people watching competition shows for? What do people like sports for? It's because you want to root for people and you also want to shit on people. So I don't think I was wise enough to understand that was going to happen. And boy, I learned. I learned really, really fast. No matter who you are, if you're the most secure self, or if you're the most insecure, or you're just showing up and doing your best, not everyone's going to love you. It's just point blank. And some people will make it very, very apparent that they're not on your team. And the internet can be a really nasty place. But I can say right now, I've never in my life, face to face, had those type of things said to me. They would never. If anything, I remember one time I was tattooing at a convention. I don't know if they thought I had headphones in, like the little AirPods, but I definitely didn't. And I could hear these two girls being like, oh, it's that bitch. It was that one that was fighting with her. And I'm like, and I turn around, I go, hi, how's it going? How's your day? And they go, can I get a picture with you? And I was like, absolutely, absolutely, it's cool. So come on, it doesn't matter. All you can do is just show people who you are. Just be unapologetic about it. Their definition of you is their own. And honestly, it's whatever people think of me is not really any of my business. They make it my business, and I can choose to ignore it, or I can choose to embrace it. And I think it's really good that now I can see, after all these years have passed, I think it's good that I had a lot of haters, because one thing I learned from being on television or being in the public eye at all, if you're not going to win, be remembered, and you're gonna find the people that identify with you. You're gonna find your people. It was just kind of like all right, the world is telling you that half of them love you, half of them fucking hate your guts. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. They're never gonna treat you that way in person. I did not have a real sense of confidence. My confidence was a front. My combativeness was a front, because it's a self-defense mechanism. You know, when you feel threatened and you feel scared, sometimes people tend to posture themselves and get big, and I don't think I do that anymore, you know. So when I was on TV, people on the internet were not really thinking about, how do I connect with my audience for them to understand who I am? How do I find my people? It just wasn't like that. Instagram was just an online portfolio. People didn't really know who we were. It was just what art that we shared, and we were either liked or ignored, and that's it. It was very simple. And then when Ink Master and TV came about, they started to see us as who we are, but it's not who we are. It's the characters that we have to portray based on what is happening in that exact moment on the TV show. It's based on, how does this person react in real time to the most bizarre and crazy and combative situations. That's not a definition of who we are. That is, what does this person do when they're put in a fishbowl of chaos? That doesn't define who we are. But that is what America and the rest of the world is going to see. That's what you're sharing with the world. I don't think I ever really understood that concept. I just saw cameras and I'm like, okay, those are things. My brain didn't go, oh wait, fucking millions of people are gonna get an opinion on. I just didn't think of that. It was just survive in the moment. So, nowadays that tattooing is so widely accepted and so many more people can come into this industry and be welcomed, being given guidelines from the people that succeeded before them. It's so much easier. And now you don't need to be on TV or do any of that stuff to be recognized. A lot of it is based on the quality of your work, what you're sharing with your audience. Do they connect with you? Do you have anything likable or identifiable about you or your artwork that people can connect with? I think a lot of people just saw me in hyper survival state and defensive, or later on, whenever I was out of that the craziness of Ink Master and had other things, I got to be myself, and I got to do really cool shit with my girlfriends and be in a very positive environment. That's when people started to see who I was. Some of my favorite tattooers, I don't know who the fuck they are. I've never hung out with them. And if I have hung out with them and they're cool, that's awesome. I like their art even more now because now I know they're a cool person. Being perceived can be a really scary thing because you're just being vulnerable and you're putting yourself out there and you're being susceptible to all opinions held inside or put on the internet. And that's the risk you have to take because being an artist is actually the most pure form of vulnerability of who you are, what you have to give to the world. So you already have to accept the fact that you're being vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable in exposing who you are. You can choose to give a certain amount or hold back a certain amount. When you give just enough and your art is an example of who you are, you'll find your audience. It doesn't have to be in such a big, crazy way like TV or podcasts or any of that stuff. It doesn't have to be that. I think it's really great now that people are valuing, showing who they are on the internet to have their artwork be appreciated. I think it's great because sometimes it's an uncomfortable thing to put yourself out there and be perceived and to be criticized and to be judged. But it's a lesson. It's a lesson in loving yourself and it's a lesson in being like, you know what, fuck it. Sometimes you have to just say that. They're gonna think what they think. They either like me or they don't like me. The people that like me, those are the ones that make me really fucking stoked about what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm so lucky, but like my clients are the raddest people ever and I have the best time. And that's a sign that I showed the right part of myself. Anytime I'm online, I'm showing who I am, even though people evolve and they change. Is your artwork something people can connect with? Because at the end of the day, they're coming to you for your artwork. Is it something that they can love and appreciate? Do you see yourself in your artwork? When they see themselves in your artwork, that's when you find your people. I'm not really sure about what I plan to do in the next 5-10 years. I don't even know what I'm going to be doing in a year. There was a time in my life where I had a big goal, do cool shit, do amazing tattoos, make the world see me and blah, blah, blah. And I did it. I just don't see my life in a linear plan. I just try to listen to myself and base my choices off of what I need in the moment. Am I not feeling fulfilled? All right, go and fill your cup. Am I feeling overworked? Take a break. Am I feeling bored? Change up your fucking tattoo style. Do I miss my friends? Do I miss going to conventions? Then go do more conventions. I'm not really a planning person. I'm very type A when it comes to my tattoo process, but when it comes to life, I'm just really type B, man. Like, what do I need? What do I got to do to achieve it? I'm going to figure it out. Because I think if you plan out your life, dude, like life doesn't go according to plan. It just doesn't. And I don't like to disappoint myself when I didn't have to. I know that I want to find who I am as an artist based on what I've learned recently or in the last couple of years. I do these big, crazy tattoos that can take, all right, you tattoo them, that's one day, you gotta wait a month to heal, come back, and it can take sessions and sessions and sessions. The world won't see it until it's totally done, like a year later. I'm in kind of like my own little evolution state of who I am artistically, but I'm always just I'm just trying to learn how to listen to myself and what I need in the moment as an artist and as a woman. Money and tattooing and all of that stuff, there's certain things that you always have to take care of. You've got to make sure that you're tattooing this much. You got to make sure you're making this money. You got to take care of your life and be an adult. That's one thing, but we're artists, so we go through phases of not being inspired, being super inspired, going through hell, not going through hell, being happy, having the best moments of your life. Things are going to change constantly, so I'm just kind of doing whatever makes me feel fulfilled and happy and peaceful and also inspired. You can't get too peaceful. Can't sit on your fucking couch and hide away from the world. From tomorrow or to the next 3 years, I'm just figuring out what I need day by day, week by week. I'm holding myself accountable and responsible for my career. Am I uninspired? Get your ass to the convention. Get your ass with your friends and do a guest spot, do a collab, paint something, draw something, challenge yourself. My success and my happiness is all in my control. So I just hope to see further evolution of who I am as an artist based on the people that inspire me, based on like all the people that are, even here at the New York convention. If I see somebody that's like doing something that I love and I wish I could do, that's fuel. Like, okay, that's the fire under my ass. I need to pay attention to what they're doing and I need to see how I can do my version of something that I'm inspired by. Like, don't get lazy. Once you feel yourself being too comfortable, like that's nice and all, but that means things are gonna keep going that same way. I don't know, it's hard because I'm like, yeah, just take care of yourself and find your peace and blah, 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 but also like get fucking uncomfortable and challenge yourself and put yourself in weird positions and weird situations, because that's who we find out who we really are. You know, that's how we're going to discover who we are as artists and as people. And I think I want my legacy to be, I was the person to a lot of girls that weren't seen, that felt like they didn't belong in this industry, but they grew a pair and they showed up and they learned how to navigate their way through this industry by being the best fucking artist. That nobody can shit on you if you're doing things that you're proud of and you're doing things that are changing other people's perspective. I feel like the most powerful moments for me in my career have been when these girls say like, oh, I've been following you since high school and I'm tattooing now. And I'm like, whoa, that's fucking tight. Like, you are the person that, like, I'm seeing myself in them. I was once that young girl that wanted to become something better, and I needed a muse, and I needed an example, and I needed someone that was stronger than me and more powerful than me to be my driving force. And if I can do that for somebody, like, that's amazing. I know that a lot of women in this industry have a hard time, or they've had a hard come up, and that's very normal, but I hope my legacy can be that I inspired and I empowered at least somebody along the way. If it's my clients, if it's another tattooer, male, female, who, I don't give a fuck. If I can make an impression on somebody and make them feel like how I feel, they have something that I want, they have something that I'm not capable of, how do I become that? You did it, I can do it too. That's something that will make me sleep really peacefully at night. It's Nikki Simpson, and Freshly is back.